Welcome to Alternative Investments Chat,
where we demystify the world of alternative investments and financing for entrepreneurs and investors alike.
With these discussions, we hope you're more empowered to unlock opportunities in your business or portfolio. I'm Erin.
And I'm Erica. Let's get started. Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Alternative Investments Chat. Today, we're talking a little bit about a buzzy word, if you will, or topic in the finance space right now, and that is cryptocurrency.
Yes.
So it's in the news, it's on your Instagram feed, it's in your email, and yet if you're almost like me, you probably don't know a lot about it. I know I definitely didn't until really doing some research and working in this field some more. So we're going to dive in. What exactly is crypto anyway?
Yeah, it's a good question. We know that Bitcoin is a household name, right? Everybody knows Bitcoin, but there's more than just Bitcoin out there to explore. There's Ethereum, tokenized real estate, and decentralized finance. But really, we got to slow our roll a little bit here because this is the kickoff episode to what is going to be a cryptocurrency series. We're going to break down cryptocurrency and figure out, is this asset class a fading trend or is it here to stay?
I'm very curious. Can't wait to dive in some more.
So this is our basics episode. We're going to cover the basics of crypto, all the vocab words we're going to give to you today. So to start, let's start with cryptocurrency.
That's probably a good place to start, right?
Probably a good place to start. So cryptocurrency is a type of digital or virtual currency that uses cryptography for security. Now that you know that name or know the definition, the name seems kind of self-explanatory, right? You get cryptocurrency. But what makes crypto different than traditional currencies like the US dollar or the Japanese yen is that it is not actually issued by a centralized government.
Got it.
It is decentralized and typically runs on a technology called blockchain. Now, that brings us to another buzzword, right? So let's pause and establish what blockchain is before we move on.
Yes.
I didn't come up with this metaphor, but this is kind of like blockchain for dummies. This is the best way that I've seen it explained. So we can think about blockchain like a shared Google Doc. Any person can access the doc, write in it, but no one can destroy or alter what is already inside the document. It's like the concept of a cloud document, meaning it doesn't just live in one place where you have to access it from this one place. You can get it anywhere you have internet, and everyone has the same exact copy. So if one person attempts to edit or alter said document, other people will be able to see that. So where do we get the word blockchain from, right? The block is, you can think of it as like a page in the shared doc that contains all the information about the transaction. Erica sent Erin $5 on, the 30th of March, whatever. And the blocks are all linked to each one before it. And that's how you get the chain, right? So each page in the document is linked together. The block, the chain, okay? So once the block is full, the page is full, it is then locked and it cannot be edited or changed in any way. And then a new page or a new block begins.
Okay, so I think I've got it. So basically what this means is, so when people say that Bitcoin, that's a later episode. Bitcoin runs on blockchain.
Right.
What they really mean is that all transactions are recorded in this giant non-edible ledger, right? Okay. So up until recently, though, if I remember correctly, is when people started talking to me about crypto, and it all sounded like the teacher of Charlie Brown, and I was like, wow. I still, even when doing this episode and researching it, there are sometimes I still
you get glossed.
Had those. Yeah, I was like, okay, I need to take a walk around the building because all these terms are like going together. So what I want to highlight here, though, is the key features of cryptocurrency. So as you mentioned, it's decentralized, meaning there's no government or banks that control it. It is considered secure due to using cryptography, which we'll discuss a little bit in a second. And then it's transparent because all transactions are recorded in the blockchain. And then lastly, it is global, like you mentioned, because you can send or receive it basically anywhere that has an internet connection, right?
Okay, that's great. But I do have a question. I know you said we were going to cover it, but I can't wait any longer. What is cryptography? Because that sounds like some ancient hieroglyphics thing right there.
Right? It is. No, I'm just joking. So from the Oxford Dictionary, actually, cryptography is the art of writing or solving codes.
Okay.
Sounds a lot easier, but anyway. So when it comes to cryptocurrencies, this means that information is hidden or scrambled so that only authorized people can read or understand it. So this means it can protect that really important information from hackers.
Okay.
We talk about, we've heard on the news about hackers getting bank information. So in cryptographies, it is hidden and scrambled. So when I think about cryptographies, of course, my criminal justice mind goes to Zodiac and how he used to send the letters with all like the little circles with the crosses and then, the ciphers to communicate with the police. But again, that's because that's me. That's my background.
Yeah, but kind of the same.
Yeah. So, but one form of cryptography that most people are really familiar with is a VPN.
Okay.
Or a virtual private network. In fact, I have a VPN on my phone and on my laptop or iPad just because we work in tech. And so this is something that I've seen a lot of all over, so I went ahead and got myself one. So this creates a secure encrypted connection over a public network.
Okay.
So it masks your IP address and hides your internet traffic for enhanced security. So if someone was to look at mine, it actually says, I think this iPad sets up, and I think it has me like living in California somewhere.
California dreaming.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the thing that kind of lets you watch British Netflix, if you will, from your house here in Arizona, because it's saying that you live over there. Oh, that means you have access.
Right. Exactly.
Doesn't really tell you where you are.
I used to love when me and my family would go on vacations to Mexico because Mexican Netflix is way better than American Netflix. They got the good shows.
Really? I'm gonna have to
and like
investigate
good
that.
movies. Yeah, but I do see ads for that all the time, and specifically, they're always advertising that you can watch shows that you can't watch in the U.S. So
This VPN.
I think I should probably get one.
Yeah.
But I do want to get to the bottom of something else, and that is cryptocurrency mining. Okay. This is something that would confuse me a lot. Like, what does mining have to do with Bitcoin
Right.
or currency? This doesn't make any sense. It's like mining for gold. I get it, but it's digital. I was really confused about it. It doesn't make any sense. So let's break it down. Mining is how some cryptocurrencies maintain their existing system and create new coins. Mining for Bitcoin is like solving a really super complicated math puzzle using powerful computers to do so. So miners around the world work to solve these puzzles independently, together, kind of depends, and to add to the next block on the chain.
Okay.
The new page in the Google Doc.
Yeah.
And therefore, then they earn a reward of cryptocurrency. So they mine for the crypto. If they figure out the super complicated math puzzle, they get the reward of the cryptocurrency. This is what is called proof of work, and it confirms transactions to keep the blockchain constantly updated and secures the network. So essentially, the miners are working to audit as auditors to verify the actual block.
Okay.
So they are looking at a transaction, verifying that it's correct, whatever, adding it into the block, and then they get a reward for the work that they have done. So it's kind of like when the Fed prints new dollar bills and puts them into circulation, except that there are some very key distinctions. Obviously, no government is involved in the creation of new crypto coins. And there is actually a cap on supply on most crypto. For example, Bitcoin is actually capped at 21 million.
Got it. So there can never be more than that out in the universe.
Exactly. So Bitcoin still uses mining along with a few others, Dogecoin, Litecoin, and more. But many other cryptocurrencies have actually moved to a different system, and this is called proof of stake, to reduce the need for massive computing power that is used in typical mining or original mining. Ethereum, which is another really popular, famous cryptocurrency, famously made the switch from proof of work to proof of stake in 2022 in a move that is called the merge.
I know. When I was doing research, I'm
Sounds
like, the merge.
very ominous, the merge. But
I feel like the merge
what
should
it
be
is.
called the proof of life. Because every time when I was reading through this, I kept thinking of when, again, criminal justice, when someone gets kidnapped and they're like, send proof of life. And they
Right.
hold up the,
Yeah.
newspaper with the date. And I'm like, first of all, who still gets newspapers? But that's kind of, think about it. That's paper.
Fair,
and we're talking about crypto, which is, again, not paper. So it kind of translates in my head for whatever reason.
I think the thing about learning about cryptocurrency is that there's not an exact metaphor for it.
Yeah.
It is kind of like quantum physics in the sense that it can be difficult to wrap your brain around because it's a completely new system.
Yeah.
We're so used to dealing with paper money and coins and understanding that comes from our government and currency exchange and whatever. So we're so
Right.
used to that. So learning something completely new can be difficult, and I think you have to find whatever sort of tethers that you can to try to make it make sense.
Yeah, everyone learns differently, right? So
Yeah.
however this translates in your brain is how you
Right.
need to keep, like you said, keep all those little tethers together. Be like, okay, take your little
Yep.
string, and this guy goes to this guy goes to this guy.
Right.
It makes sense in your head. That's all that we really
Yeah,
care about,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So now that we've got all those basics down, I think we can kind of start to dive into the different types of cryptocurrency. So you're familiar with the names of these cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, etc. But there are actually different categories within each of those. So let's start with payment cryptocurrency.
Yep.
Kind of
Makes
if you just say it, you kind of know what it is. So you use it like money.
right.
You're sending, receiving, and storing value with this stuff. Okay. So Bitcoin is a payment currency.
Yep, exactly.
Second, we've got utility cryptocurrency. Now, this is a type of coin that provides access to certain products or services on a specific blockchain project or platform. So you can kind of think of it like a Costco membership card. So it only allowing access inside the store to make purchases that are for the members only.
Right.
Non-members can't go in there. They can't make purchases.
Yep.
In fact, if you read some of the stuff about Costco, now they have to scan your card because people were loaning other people their cards.
Yep.
Anyway, huge Costco debacle.
Yeah, exactly. Costco drama.
Exactly. So Ethereum actually began as a utility token, but has kind of shifted since the merge that you mentioned.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun. Yeah, should we say that every single time? Dun dun dun.
Yeah,
Merge.
I feel
Okay.
like it could be like a movie.
We're the merge.
Yeah, exactly.
So a better example would actually be the basic attention token, or BAT.
Okay.
Which can be earned on Brave browser by watching ads, and then you can spend to purchase content or tip creators.
Okay.
All of this, again, as you're doing our research, I'm like, this is I feel like I'm playing video games. That's what this reminds me of.
kind of
But
is, yeah.
Well,
Yeah, the Batcoin, that's a new one for me. I didn't
Yeah.
I hadn't heard of that one before, but
it reminds me, like I said, of when you get certain coins and you can buy skins. They're called skins
right,
on
yeah, like Fortnite
games. Yeah. I'm like, I don't understand, but whatever.
Yeah.
If it works for you and you have fun, live your life, my friend. So up next, we actually have platform coins. So these coins power blockchains, networks that other apps are built on. So like operating systems for Web3.
Okay.
This is a category that actually Ethereum falls into now. So they are a platform coin.
Okay.
Then we also have stable coin. So this is a coin pegged to stable assets like the US dollar or gold to reduce volatility, okay?
Yeah.
So example is USDC or USDT, there we go, aka Tether, which is a pegged to the US dollar and was launched in 2014. Now we have a few others. Why don't you go ahead and tell me about those guys?
Yeah, so next we have governance tokens. Again, this is another thing that was new for me. So these give holders the actual power to vote on decisions within decentralized products, like changing rules or how funds are used. So an example of this token is Uniswap, UNI, that allows holders to vote on certain developments or changes to the Uniswap platform. On Uniswap is a actual platform where you can swap coins, cryptocurrency, and the Uniswap coin is not traded on there necessarily, but it is used to vote on decisions about the actual platform. So perhaps an easier way to envision this is that it's like if Facebook had a governance coin and you were the holder of one, you could use that token to cast your vote on any new features that Facebook might be rolling out. Like maybe they are adding a new reaction button to statuses, or they're changing the layout of a feed. If they could propose this development to people who have the coin, and they could ask like yay or nay, and you get to use your token to vote yay or nay.
Got it. Okay.
And depending on how many you have, you can cast X amount of votes.
Got it.
So it's like being a stakeholder in a company, kind of. It's not, but you know.
I follow. Yeah.
Yeah, you get to have a say in some of the decisions that are made. So that brings us to our last category that we're going to be covering today, and that is privacy coins, secret spy, privacy coins. So these focus on anonymous, untraceable transactions, unlike most cryptos, which are public, which we've covered extensively. Let's think about our conversation about the blockchain, the Google Doc. Well, coins like Monero uses a feature called ring signatures as opposed to blockchain. To hide or scramble those details about a transfer so that they are virtually untraceable.
It's like the black market coin.
That's how I've thought about it too. And it seems like a great way to hide illegal activity, like money laundering or, funding terrorism.
No one would ever do that, Erin.
I would love for you to just keep thinking that for the rest of your life. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Whatever helps you sleep well at night.
Right?
I'll worry about it for you. But I guess that I'm not alone in thinking that or having that suspicion, because it's still legal in the United States, though it's very highly regulated here.
Makes sense.
It has been banned in several countries, including Japan, South Korea, and Australia. So now, of course, now that we've covered all these categories here, this isn't all the categories of crypto.
Yeah.
In fact, there's several like subcategories and blah, 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 right? All sorts of things. But I think that this illustrates just how vast the world of cryptocurrency really is.
Yeah, no, I can't concentrate. My head is all over. And I'm kind of thinking about the black market ones.
Yeah.
I want to see what those ones are more
It's
like.
interesting.
But I really didn't know that there was so many little crypto babies out there other than, the little star child of Bitcoin. I'm still
Number one people.
Yeah. I'm like, I it wasn't until doing the research on this podcast for this episode in particular that I really realized that like Bitcoin is like actually just one little itty bitty thing.
Yeah.
I thought all cryptocurrency was Bitcoin. It is not.
Yeah, I don't blame you for that. It's certainly the one that gets the most attention in the news. So I think that a lot of people kind of have that misconception. And again, this is like a really complex world. So
yeah, and
totally
it just keeps getting more complex.
Yeah.
But neither here nor there. So like we mentioned at the top of this episode, this is just part one of our cryptocurrency series. So we're not going to go into everything. But that you're sitting here as a listener going, oh, I really hope they talk about this. We're probably not. This is just 101. This is the basics. So, but before we do wrap up this very head spinning episode, I wanted to leave you with some basic information about how you might get started in crypto, especially if you're a beginner and you're just sort of like, I want to start investing. Let's kind of like, where do I go?
Sure.
So, of course, as always, this is not professional financial advice. Okay. Yep. We are not registered advisors. That this is just, hopefully this is a nice jumping off point for you that you can start looking into. So speak to professionals, always. We always tell people to do that. So especially when your hard-earned money is on the line, make sure you're doing your research. So again, that leads to the very first point. Do your research.
Yeah.
And this episode doesn't count. It doesn't count as research, people. Okay. We want you to understand what you're investing into the fullest. Think about all those crypto horror stories where people lost all of their money.
Yeah.
I think I've seen far too many of them, and it makes me very, very nervous, and it also breaks my heart. So don't let that be you. So maybe start looking into Bitcoin or Ethereum first. Again, those big two star children, simply because these tokens are perhaps the most established and potentially easiest to understand. I think when you start getting into those black market ones, we maybe hold tight, okay?
Sure.
Then you're going to want to decide your why. Why are you investing? Make sure that everything aligns with your goals. So what is the true value of this investment for you? Are you going to do, it doesn't even matter if it's for crypto. It could be for real estate, for sneakers, for all the other great asset classes that we've talked about. What do you want to get out of this? Diversification, maybe. Exposure to something you find exciting. High returns. Figure out what you want. That's a big basic that I think a lot of people don't actually take into consideration.
For sure.
So what else can our listeners do?
Yeah. I think a huge advantage here with crypto is the ability to start small. You don't have to go all in all at once. You can start with something maybe under $100, right? And this should be enough for you to be able to observe how exchanges work and how transactions work and where your wallet is and how the market's moving, blah, blah, blah. That's enough for you to kind of buy in. But at the end of the day, if you can stomach fully losing $100 and never seeing it again, but you're really interested and want to give it a shot, I would just suggest starting small. And you can monitor your investment to get a feel for the market and actually the investment itself. Awesome. Crypto is super volatile, and you might find that that's a little uncomfortable for you, or you might fall in love with it. You never know. But just know that you can start small.
That's good.
And another thing to consider is to choose a reputable exchange. Don't buy or sell crypto on some weird site, some one-off site. Here are some big names in the space for crypto exchanges: Coinbase, Kraken, and Binance US. So
I've heard of all those, so that's good.
Exactly. Yeah. Look for those big names, stick with those. And, if some influencer tells you to go and buy their coin, maybe don't do that. And continue to keep learning and to stay vigilant. Should you keep all of your crypto in the exchange, or should you store it in a wallet? You should stay up to date on the latest scams. You shouldn't trust any DMs that come your way that, are like, hey, dude, I just put all my money into this coin and it's going to the moon. Click here to invest or whatever. Just don't fall for the hype. Stay on top of all of the ever-changing regulations in the space. This is kind of a newer thing. Just be aware. And you should also learn how to keep your cryptocurrencies safe with two-factor authentication. That's like the least you could do, strong passwords, and there's so much more out there. So these are just a few things to consider. The list is long.
Yeah, I'd say very few things, but that's okay.
Yes, but these are the questions that you should keep asking yourself, and just be aware. And it's not a set it and forget it situation, so keep that in mind.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's episode. We hope you've learned something new. And like we said, stay tuned for our crypto series. We are definitely going to have a few more episodes on this very fascinating asset class, head-spinning asset class, whatever you want to call it, asset class. But just stay tuned. We hope you will like and subscribe as well. And we will see you next time.
Thanks for joining us. Stay tuned for more insight on our next episode.
And don't forget to subscribe to continue the Alternative Investments chat.
See you next time.
Content provided in this podcast is for informational purposes only and should not be construed as professional, financial, or investment advice. This podcast should not be construed as an offer to sell or a solicitation of any offer to buy any securities. We strongly recommend that you seek advice from a qualified professional before making any financial decisions.